Hey Janine, it's Brett. So I'd like to walk through a couple examples of the new way that we'll be able to manage the quest stories, the podcast episodes in that category, and they are in a category now. And um, this is also a setup for how we can manage all podcast episodes in the future. But I want to start with this small sample. We've just got 5, and I'm making this video to ensure that you see how this is done, such that we can then move to the new process and save you a whole bunch of time. So this is episode 503. It looks probably similar to how you're used to it looking, except for it's been modified to have recent quest stories instead of recent episodes. So wherever we have those, they'll show up. And then we also have a new section, recent podcast episodes, and a few of those. So 2 different things, stories and episodes on this particular quest story. But the real important part about this is not the end look. This is how it'll look. The important part of this is how we manage it, how we create new episodes. So for quest stories alone right now, when it's time to make a new quest story, when you go into the admin area, this is what it should look like. You will not need to use the divi builder for quest stories. In the future, when you're ready, you won't need those for regular podcast episodes either. All you'll need to do is put in a title, put in the summary here in the default WordPress text editor. You'll need to set a category. If it's a podcast. If it's quest story, also quest stories. And put in whatever you're going to put in into the excerpt, which currently is the same as your summary. If there are show notes, after you've clicked the category for podcast or quest stories, you'll see a new box pop up that'll look like this. Minimizing and expanding just to make sure it shows up. And this is where the show notes will go when they exist. Now, so far for quest stories, we don't have show notes. And then the podcast episode information will go down in the Blueberry section. After that, this has been edited, so to see that, I have to check the box. But when you're creating it, I believe that'll show up automatically. And finally, of course, set your featured image. So you won't need to do any of the work in the divi builder. You won't have to import a template. You won't have to edit the text module to put in the summary. You will not need to edit the show notes module to put things in there. So you'll simply need to put in the title, paste in the summary there, show notes there, excerpt here. And the key thing, the show notes box will not appear or be visible until you've chosen a category. It doesn't show up for everything that we might create. It only shows up when we're working in these 2 categories. So there you have it. That will drive then the look and feel here. And this is managed in our theme builder area. So we have this section here where it manages that template and applies it to all the categories with quest stories. We do something similar for old legacy podcast episodes. And in the future, I want to have a new area where we do that for all future podcast episodes when you're ready. I'm making this video to show you the before and after examples. So hopefully this will all make sense. Or a little more sense, and if there's any questions or gaps or anything like that, let me know, and we can walk through it some more.